Hello there. I just wanted to talk about a psychological thriller that I've just finished reading last night. I read it on a Kindle, and the title is The Temp, and it's by Kelly Florentia. And I've read a number of Kelly's novels before, well, all of them actually, and also her book of short stories. I'll put a link below to Kelly's page on amazon.co.uk, excuse me, and which will show the other novels and the book of short stories. And there's even a book about with 20 smoothie recipes as well as a non-fiction title. But I've always enjoyed Kelly's novels. They're absolutely brilliant, and they're all set in well, they're mostly set in London, in North London in particular. And having lived there myself back in the 80s and 90s, you just definitely get the feel that you're in London and in those kind of areas of North London, and that's one of the draws for me. And another one is the characterizations and the dialogue, which is always excellent, really. And The Temp is the latest novel. It just came out a short while ago, a couple of months ago. I finished reading it last night, and I was absolutely... The ending is just, there's no way, and I don't want to give anything away in this sort of, it's not a review, I don't really do reviews, but in terms of, not on the channel, in terms of, I just like talking about books, so I'm not like, I'm not a critic or anything, so, but I'm just talking as a reader, a general reader, and, but the ending, you won't expect it at all, and I really recommend you, if you like psychological thrillers and character-driven writing and novels with a really good plot. I mean, but there is the plot that's working through, but it's the characters that pull you through, and you get very involved with them and their relationships. I mean, there are two sisters at the centre of this. The centre of this story, but there's other friends, and then there's the husbands and so forth, the male characters, and then there's this male character, Frank. What I don't want to do is give away any really important aspects of the plot, because that would just be an awful thing to do, because it would spoil the reading of it. But there's a sense that there's a building threat from this one male character, Frank. But then that gets subverted. I mean, that carries on through quite a bit of the novel, but it gets subverted later on. And but I won't say any more about that. Otherwise, I'm giving stuff away. But he is of great concern, and you just wonder what he's going to do. There's also, the character of the temp. Daisy, and you get to find out about her as well. And as with the psychological thrillers generally, I think, from what I understand of the term, is that as a reader, you get pulled into sort of false expectations, or you have unreliable narrators, and you're expecting certain things going on, and it's not always that simple. Can you trust the narration? Can you trust the people who are telling you the story, essentially, and to what degree can you trust them? And as a secondary aspect, can you trust the other characters that they're telling you about, and how those characters are coming across? So psychologically, as the phrase goes, it's a thriller that keeps you very involved, but it's something very unsettling when it's done really well, as it is in The Temp by Kelly Florentia here, and as it has been in other novels of hers that I've read. I've enjoyed them all very much. You get lulled into a false sense that you're understanding what's going on, and then you've got these expectations that build up, and then they just get completely 180'd, and it's a really interesting reading experience when you think, oh well, I kind of know where this might go, and it's nowhere near it. It's nowhere near it, but it makes sense, because as backstory gets leaked out in certain crisis points, You can see, but you see in retrospect how it can work. But because you don't know what's going to happen, it's all a really big surprise. I really like how the relationships are done. You know, the husband-wife relationships in this, but also the daughter of the family as well, teenage daughter. But just going back to what I was saying at the beginning, just the sense of being in this city trying to make a living, and some of the characters are doing better than others in terms of their lives and them materially, but their lives are under strain, really. So to keep it up, to keep the appearances up, to keep things going is a strain on them, and they're trying to do their best, but things can look really superficially comfortable and easy for them, but underneath, there's so many cracks in these relationships. And another thing Kelly Florentia is great at is the female friendships, obviously, and sort of dissecting them and how they ebb and flow. And it's right at the level of there's a character of Bella. She's telling this story, but you get a sense of her internal world, obviously the most, because she's the narrator. And as I say, is she or is she not a reliable narrator? Well, that's for you to find out when you read the novel. But she's just great at the minute observations in other people's body language, internal feelings, and suggestions through what they say, the subtext of what they say, and the dialogue itself is very natural, which isn't easy to pull off, because it's not. I think naturalism in dialogue is not literally saying what somebody would say in real life, but just to give the appearance of the naturalism. That's the art of it, I think, often, and that's done really, really well. As are the descriptions of a lot of, basically domestic interiors, but also, getting from one part of London to the other and things like this, and how much social media and mobile phones and this sort of technology, computers, and other aspects of technology, DNA tests, for example, in terms of who one might be related to, that all comes into play. So these technologies are always, because these novels are absolutely bang up to date in terms of how these technologies will affect the characters, the plot, how things are found out, what suspicions people have, and so that's really entertaining as well, and very real. But the central character, Bella, she is obviously the standout character. We know her the most, but she's very good at describing what's going on around her and within her as well, and the minute shifts of, minute and also huge shifts of emotion. She's a very emotional character that really feels things, and that's what you need, really. And she's observing it. She's a great observing character, I should say. I'm not writing any of this stuff down. I'm saying it off the top of my head because I just want to say what I felt about the book without giving anything too much away. But so the characters, a lot of them are in their 40s and 50s, I would say. And obviously you've got the daughter character, and then some are slightly younger. But they're professionals. Some are, and a lot of them are business owners as well. But it's the sense of the female friendship groups, and how they weather stresses and so forth, and what histories they've got. And it's quite a lot to do with the places they're living in as well. That comes out quite strongly to me, and what that means for them to be living at a certain level, financially, and the stresses, as I've said that before, as the stresses it puts them under. So I think I'll leave it there. It's just a really, really, if you read the book, you'll be lulled into a sense that you kind of know where it's going, and then it kind of takes you off that track. I don't know exactly when, in terms of maybe a bit after halfway, and you think, this is what's going on with this this plot that I was expecting. It's kind of receding into some, where's it gone? But something else is happening. And then there's obviously a series of revelations, and then there's this massive revelation and turn at the end, which is just on another level altogether. And you've got to read the book to get to it, and obviously you've got to enjoy everything that came before, because that's how stories work, isn't it? And so yeah, Kelly Florentia, The Temp, available in Kindle. I read it on a Kindle, also in paperback, and it's excellent. It's got a lot of reviews already. I'll just read a bit of the description that's from the Amazon page. Bella seems to have it all: a beautiful home, a brilliant career, a loving husband and teenage daughter, and supportive family and friends. The only thing missing is her body confidence. So when her PA goes on maternity leave, and that's the reason why she gets a temp and needs one, she decides against hiring a temporary assistant, but she employs a personal trainer instead. But nonetheless, a temp does appear in quite unusual fashion. That's me speaking, not the description. Why squander hard-earned cash on a temp when she could put the money to better use? Yeah, so she's got this concern over her body image and losing confidence, and wants to get that back. And hence this guy called Frank comes onto the scene. But really, right from the very beginning, that backstory is set up, that there's an issue there. There's an issue with what's happened between her and this guy Frank. So you're thrown in there quite quickly, that there's a problem to be solved, or a potential problem that's building and getting out of control. But little did she know Frank would want more than tightening her glutes and toning her biceps. Angry and frustrated for making the wrong choice, Bella sacks Frank and hires a temp, Daisy. Daisy has settled in nicely. She thinks she's landed a great job, but if Bella thinks she can happily move on, as if Frank never existed, she may have to think again. So that's it. So that's what the setup is, really, that there's someone in someone's life that is causing a problem, and how do you make that problem go away? And someone who appears to be a help to that problem, well, as I say, I don't want to give anything away, so in terms of the plot, but it's really, really good. And I was genuinely, yeah, it is a shock. The ending is a shock, and it's a surprise, and but it's a really nice, it flows really well. Kelly Florentia's writing and her characterization is always interesting and always very detailed, and she builds scenes very well in terms of you being able to visualize them, and it's a real skill to do that, isn't it? So with just descriptions of clothes, of body language, how people speak, but also rooms, and gardens, rooms, places, so you get a sense of place very strongly. And that's another aspect, as I said at the beginning, why I really like reading these books, of getting this sense of this London life in this certain type of milieu, this certain type of people that are, yes, they're doing quite well, some better than others, but there's often stresses there in relationships because of having to keep up to that level, really, often. And the aspect of technology, as I said, runs through it all the way through. It's got very short chapters. I read very slowly lately, so I took quite a long time reading the book, as I am with reading all books at the moment, to take it very slowly. But if you're someone that really loves to just get into a book and read it compulsively until you finish, this would suit you as well. And the chapters are short. They are almost invariably ending on a hook that pulls you on to the next chapter, and which is really good. This kind of this hook technique, and often the hook is you kind of get what you want at the beginning of the next chapter. It gets explained, but then you lead up to another hook, so that it's got this rolling sense of tension that's built up, and then you get rewarded, and it gets built up again until this final, very, very astounding revelation. Thank you very much. I really hope you check this book out and check Kelly Florentia's other novels out. Some of the titles are, I'm just looking at the screen here, Mine, To Tell a Tale or Two is a book of short stories, and there's No Way Back and Her Secret as well, and there's The Magic Touch. And some of them are more of a romantic element to them. This one is about relationships, as I said. The Temp is about relationships, and as are they all, as is probably every novel in one way or another. But this it's darker. It's darker, but there are elements of humour there as well. And as you get to know the characters, they're entertaining characters to be around and to get to know, with their quirks and their peccadillos and strangenesses, really, and also the masks that they're using, the different masks that they're using, which under tension, under pressure, the masks get ripped off, as tends to happen. So I'll put the link below to Kelly's Amazon page with all her novels on it. She's been writing for quite a while. This is her 5th novel and her 7th book, but her fifth full-length novel. Thank you for listening, and hope you check out this novel, The Temp by Kelly Florentia. Cheers, all the best, bye-bye.